stage, like most games Veno is out. If he isn't, he's picked up in the first picking stage. And here, Team Unique, they answer a little bit with the Nikes, right? With the Lifestealer. You have that built-in rage, so you don't have to worry way too much about the Gale.
Yeah, if it was the old Gale where, like, if it hits you before, you can't dispel it. This is a hard counter. But Venomancer got buffed and nerfed in the previous patch. His Poison Sting doesn't reduce the regeneration anymore, which is kind of a big deal, especially because he was considered a Spirit Vessel carrier.
But what's interesting is that he's more picked now than he was then. Like, then Venomancer wasn't that popular. Is it people just discovering the hero again, or...?
They've read the patch notes. Wow, this hero is actually good. It's also the vision that he provides. With all the wards. You can't just go and gank if you don't have a better vision, or if you don't use a smoke. So that's one way to counter the heroes with the great initiation in the mid game. Like, there's a ward, if they already use their smokes, you can't approach a team fight.
Yeah, I think Lacoste is going to love this, by the way. I'm just having a look at Undying just throughout the tournament for us here so far. So, 6 picks, 0 wins. 14 bans as well. So he's been respected in the ban side of things. It's being banned out along the way.
This is the stats.
Even when it's in the game, it's not winning anyway.
I mean, I'm not surprised. I've been hating the hero for the last, like, 14 years, probably. And me and Sans fan is going to open up a...
Just keep on going. Just keep on going.
Yeah, I mean, you have to agree with them. Like, what can I'm thinking, like, okay, can I play the devil's advocate here? No way. It's bloody Undying. Like, just...
I thought you were going to say, like, 1 or 2 wins.
Yeah, that's why I looked at it. I was like, okay, we're really hitting on Undying. Like, and he just get banned out. Maybe there's a win in there. No.
Okay, there's only one thing here. These are still your lower tiered teams most of the time playing the Undying. So what Lacoste said as well, let's just wait for the tier 1 to pick them up and see if they have any success with it before we really judge.
Yeah, but you said, like, your pub stars are the ones that will be picking it.
Pub stars picking Undying? What?
No, I said there are players in pubs picking Undying every now and then. There are some that only play that hero.
Yeah.
And when the hero is nerfed, those players just disappeared.
Every single time I kill Undying, I use the microphone and I say, die trash. Now, that's what I do.
I respect it.
Yeah.
Sometimes you have to do it. So, Viper gone? Why Viper? That's...
Maybe they're planning on Spectre
like
or
Huskar,
PA.
Spectre,
Huskar, meanwhile, Team Unique, their bans are a bit more obvious. You ban out the Morphling, Ursa, and Troll. These are probably your best cores versus Lifestealer, right? So you just delete those out of the picture. It makes his life a little bit easier. Now they have this Lifestealer plus Grimstroke lane. Most likely the Tiny will be position 4. It's still a bit flexible. You could lane it mid, but most likely it should be your position 4 because you don't really benefit a whole lot from an early Blink Dagger, especially when you're playing versus a Veno. He's going to have so many Plague Wards across the map. That vision that you talked about is detrimental to a Tiny that wants to go about the map and just get pickoffs.
There's still Doom available. There's still Beastmaster. I would love to have a hero that combines with the Grimstroke ult. You don't necessarily need to have it, but it's a simple Dota. Much easier to play, to combine something. What they have right now is open wounds. That's pretty much it. And once again, they're going to go with more vision. Clockwork with the rocket. Some of the nerfs in the previous patch were so weird. Like Clockwork rocket flare duration 10 to 8 seconds. Like, why?
No no idea. He got buffed a little bit in some other things, so I guess they were thinking, okay, if we're going to buff his talents a little bit, let's nerf the duration of the rocket for 2 seconds.
It's so random.
Just to do something. I have
he had to be touched in some way, right? Clockwork's doing all right, though. He's on, 35% pick, but 70% win ratio. Carl wasn't a fan of it when we kept saying it was being added in.
No, it's so good, because if this Venomancer is picked all the time, Clockwork is one of those heroes that really enables him in the laning stage. He's one of those protector types, like he's a position 4 that will cog the Veno if he's being assaulted. He's also very aggressive with the Veno. Might not be the best one versus Lifestealer as well, but overall still, on one side you're going to have Clockwork, who's activated with level 6. On the other side you're going to have Tiny, who's just going to be soaking your lanes and all the creeps just to find that Blink Dagger.
Clockwork against Tiny, if he goes on him, he can easily just toss him out, just break the whole combo. Same goes for Lifestealer. He doesn't care too much about either Cogs or Battery Assault, has a built-in BKB. Grimstroke should be afraid of him.
And SF as well.
Yeah.
Right? You have SF and Grimstroke that are really vulnerable to this Clockwork, but the biggest issue is he just comes online.
Okay.
Way sooner than the Tiny. If you just compare the position force. Yeah, you might not be able to kill the Tiny, but you will be able to play with your team a little bit earlier than he is.
This is a very good Phantom Assassin game. Like, you needed a hero that deals well with Lifestealer. Troll was gone, Ursa is gone. These are the heroes
The
that
Viper ban.
Yeah, these are the heroes that Lifestealer is afraid of. Shadowfiend has burst, Tiny has burst, so that's some magical damage that PA is afraid pre-BKB. But I mean, MKB is one of the most popular items right now, besides Heaven's Halberd. So that's the downside of PA. Like, everyone's just building it, and your blurred evasion is gonna be mitigated.
Yeah, the only question is, how soon do you want to buy it on Lifestealer, right?
Just straight up. First item and keep it up.
There was like that small patch in which everyone was just rushing MKB. It didn't matter, and in that patch, PA just wasn't a hero. It's a little bit different now. SF, perhaps he can go that route as well. He can go into that tower mode in which he's just building the right-click damage. He's a tower at that point. He's just standing and hitting. And in that case, he can go for a MKB. Most likely what's going to happen is he'll be more active, because if you go for that route, if you go for that item build, you take more space. It takes some time for you to farm up. I don't believe he's going to be that.
You have a Lifestealer in
yeah.
this game, so he is the ultimate carry, so you can afford to get this magical damage Shadowfiend in this game, and also Yule Scepter, great against Veno. You have a way of dispelling things. The BKB is not going to help you, at least the early one, against Magnus, against the Clockwork, against the PA, so there's a bunch of spells that go through magic immunity. I'm afraid that they don't have any kind of saves on both of the team. Like, there's like no disruption, any kind of heal coming out. Force staffs need to be built up, but these heroes really don't like to build it early on, especially against the Clockwork. Like, Grimstroke might get one, depending how much farm he can get early on. Tiny, he wants to farm a Blink Dagger first.
Yeah, you don't really want to force there.
Yeah.
Grimstroke, force is fine, but there are other items that you like more. Lance Glimmer as well. Now, what are we waiting for here? Team Unique most likely is their offlaner, right? And they've had some weird offlane picks so far in the tournament, and recently as well. For BZZ, he's a kind of a player, yeah, he can play your Beasts, he can play the Panda, the normal offlanes. But the last couple of games, I've even seen them run something like a Kunkka on the offlanes to provide them with that extra reliable catch. Perhaps in that game it was more of a flex pick. They pick it a little bit earlier, then they roll it on the offlane, but we shouldn't be surprised if something like that happens here.
Oh, they banned Beastmaster.
They ban it instead, yeah. So if you're having this PA, this hero without buffs is weak. Like, you just have to wait for her to come online way too much, way too long. But with two buffs such as this one, Vengeful Spirit and Empower from Magnus, she just comes online way sooner and hits that sweet spot. Yeah.
I was talking about save, Vengeful Spirit, one of the heroes that the Viking really loves to use, and it's going to be their position 5, I believe, even though I saw them running some of the players in the pubs run them off lane, they ran it mid, the safe lane, but in this game it looks like it's just position 5, Magnus mid against the SF, PA safe lane, nothing wonky.
It wouldn't be even bad as offlane. Most likely it's still the Veno offlane, right? Veno position 3, but it's not a bad lane for Venge. Like Venge Clock versus Lifestealer, I can see worse lane for a Vengeful.
But if you see what Team Unique banned, that's Beastmaster. So they were taking, they're lacking the offlaner because Beastmaster is exclusively played as position 3.
So it's possible. It's possible that Venge is your offlane here. And why is Venge here a decent offlaner is, well, she doesn't differ way too much from Veno when it comes to the item build. These two heroes are not really reliant on the item builds, right? Like you can just buy what your team needs.
Buy whatever.
Yeah, buy whatever. And Vengeful in a game such as this one, you can go for your Vlad's Helm of Dominator, whatever, and it will work. So, Necro. All right.
They have burst. Tiny, if he gets a good early game, couple of back tosses, there's a ton of magical damage between him and Shadow Fiend. Double Reaper Sight is also the combo that should not be underestimated. Vengeful Spirit Swap is not gonna save you against that.
Shouldn't this be a free Necro game? Like they have, like Clock can build a Vessel or Veno if he's an offlane.
They have no magical damage.
They don't have magical
on
damage.
Viking, yeah. I mean, you have Venomancer, but you know, he can easily build into Greaves, which should be his build this game. You know, you have way of dispelling, keeping your teammates alive with it. It's a really good Necro game to start.
Yeah, it's a decent last pick. Plus the laning stage itself, Necro loves to buy those ticks early on. You're going to be playing versus a PA. With the Tiny, you're going to have a lot of damage there. You can punish her. Then again, it is a Vengeful Magnus PA. Like, it just feels good. Like, Vengeful Magnus right now, Mag is an amazing hero. Then you have follow-up from the PA. If she goes out of control, I'm going to go with Viking.
So you're going to go with Viking either way, but it could be this amazing Necro game.
Yeah, it looks like a really good Necro game, but I'm going to go with the Mag PA.
Okay.
This is how you utilize the 10th pick, Necro. I would go 60-40 in terms of draft for Unique, but overall Viking just seems like a better team, and Unique has not been playing good lately, so I'm just going to go with Viking.
Viking, even though the draft will be slightly favoring Unique. Lacoste, Liz, thank you very much for all of that. It's time for us to see how this game is going to go down. Into our first best of 3. It's only game 1. It's Viking GG taking on Unique, and we got Sunsfan and Cinderin once again. I'm sure you guys loved a bit of that Undying stats we delivered as well.
Yes, thank you. That was the best thing I've heard all week. It shut Cinderin up for a considerable amount of time. And we don't have to cast Undying. I'm sure we can find another hero to hate, although I love every single one of these heroes. So I'll have to find something in there somewhere, Cinderin. What do you got? Give me the worst thing about one of these heroes. Let's go.
Venomancer's really slow.
Okay.
Like, really slow. So is
but
Necro.
He's wearing my
slow.
Set. So
Necro is even the same slow. They're both 280. It's very slow.
Okay. That's true. I mean, BZZ is not playing Pugna.
Shut up and cast
I am
First
personally
Blood.
very sad to see. Oh God, there's going to be First Blood. Doesn't look like it, Cinder. Illusion is perfectly fine. Somebody get me a new co-cast.
That was 100% First Blood if Veno would have skilled Gale, but they want to have Poison Sting for the lane, so they don't get a First Blood. I'm guessing, so if Toby wants to go for a build here that doesn't have Gale at all, I get this, but I think getting First Blood for a Gale point a lot of the time will be worth it. You are probably losing 1 or 2 CS on not having Poison Sting, because it is 8 damage you're passing up on, but yeah, regardless. Okay, 2 for 2, right? No, 3 for 1 round.
3 for 1.
So good start for Unique on that account. I agree a lot with the panel. I think this Radiance lineup looks super strong in general. Lacoste is favoring Unique because of the last pick Necro, and I think it is a very good Necro game. I'm just worried that once Vikings lineup comes online, I actually don't know how good of a Necro game it is anymore. Struggles a lot against repositioning. There's a Venge swap and a Skewer. Struggles against high burst during a hard BK, or not even BKB piercing stun, just long stuns, right? So you can't get your spell off. Versus RP, hookshot, Venge stun. PA with Empower and 1 item can just claw through this guy if he doesn't have Ghost Shroud running. So,
are you forced to get a Force Staff on Necro this game because of the Clockwork?
It feels good to get at least, because what's going to happen a lot of the time is Clockwork will hookshot somebody and then PA will join him in the cogs, and that's just insane damage. Especially if there's a follow-up stun. I could see Force Staff. I think another option is to just commit to a mid-game strategy here, where you're like, okay, PA and Mag need time to farm. We're going to get Greaves Pipe, so we cover the Veno and Mag magic damage, and then we're going to just try to push, and put pressure on them before they're truly online with their lineup. That is definitely an option that they do have.
A lot of harassment in both the top and bottom lanes. Let's talk about mid before we get to the First Blood, which is likely to be in one of those 2 lanes. Magnus versus Shadow Friend. So the classic mid hero Shadow Fiend. How does he match up against the old Magnus?
This is a good lane
typically
for
he loves
SF.
melee.
Definitely good. It's one of the few heroes I would say that can truly defeat Magnus in lane. Because you're stronger than him when you're level 3, you're going to start raising him a lot to pressure. And if it comes down to a jungle game, you're just as fast as at jungling as Magnus is. You're going to push him in. You see here 19 just really getting in there, forcing the salve, getting denies, and then he's going to just hold back the lane. Oh, first blood, Necro. Tiny Necro combo, got it.
Yeah, looks like that's
not
going to
really
be the first blood
Celery
for
to get killed
Unique.
there.
Yeah, that is kind of a little odd, but at least it wasn't PA. That would have been
This is
disastrous.
in trouble. Oh, had to fairy fire too. Yeah, Boom is getting pressured a lot. That's 4 stacks of Shadow Rays on him there.
Something being delivered. It is 3 tangos, but yeah, I was going to say probably has to walk all the way back to base, which feels horrid at this stage. But that's the beauty of Shadow Fiend. When you have any, I feel like any melee hero, maybe there's somebody that matches up okay against SF, but I can't think of it off the top of my head. Celery tossed back in the bot lane. Was in a pretty precarious spot, but just walks away, but still takes ridiculous amount of damage. Has a salve ready to go, though. Meanwhile, top lane, like the Lifestealer, Palantimos, will fall to the grave. So that is even more surprising.
This is a strong
position 1 in the top lane.
This is a strong lane. He doesn't have rage yet. He was level 2. And he had his passive in open wounds. So Gale plus Clockwork killer combo. Very easily run him down there.
I think that would you say that was a mistake to skill these 2 first in a lane like this? Now that he's level 3,
I haven't been watching what they used the open wounds for, but if they used it for a kill attempt and almost got it with Grim Lifesteal, you understand why they would do it, right? But if you just did it like an auto skill, then I think you definitely hold the point in this lane and wait to see if you're under pressure. Because Rage is basically a save in this lane. You remove Gale, you create distance to the Clockwork with the move speed bonus.
Illusion in the bot lane, looking for Celery again. Toss back into the creeps with the Necro. BZZ, a couple more right clicks should suffice. And Illusion will take credit for that. And Illusion will spawn next to him.
Owning in that.
Fitting.
What do you mean?
Indeed.
Necro is
mid
so
lane,
farmed.
Quite cheerful.
Yeah, he has 23 and 7 in terms of the CS. While PA is doing fine, 19 and 1, but still, that's the offlane hero that's having a free game right now. But mid lane, let's catch up on that. Shadow Fiend 23 and 14 versus Magnus 17 and 1. Not to mention it's basically a full level discrepancy between 5 and 4 right now.
Yeah, and
so,
Mac has been forced to buy a lot of regen, so not even the CS, it's also just on the net worth, right? When you're losing your lane like this, you have to buy salves, and he has accepted his fate to go jungle minute 4, and that is, I mean, while that is okay, it's nice that you have the option, at least. Some melee heroes just can't do that here and would just get stomped, but the efficiency is way lower than Shadow Fiend. He's getting full waves. He can jungle himself whenever he feels like as well, but for now he's just taking every creep, and these creeps are obviously way more valuable than what Magnus is finding. So SF level 6, Magnus just now cracking 5.
Go bottle a bounty rune, so he can just go back and forth between the jungle and mid, as you were saying. I mean, is there a point where, I mean, again, Shadow Fiend, we talked about how good he is against melee heroes, how he can kind of bounce back in the jungle even if he's been ganked or whatever, but he is susceptible to ganks. He has 0 escape mechanism. As bot lane, Illusion, harassing Celery a little bit more, still has Avalanche to work with, but he's going to continue to pursue. Does have boots, so a little hairy for Celery. We're just going to salve up to stay healthy.
I really like how Unique are playing the bot lane. Just not because it's like very, very clever to play aggressive. It's just because they're really squeezing it, right? It's like they know they have the stronger lane. And this is what if you compare this to some of the other teams we've cast in these qualifiers, these are some of the better ones. And it's really here that it shows in their like understanding of how much stronger their lane is. And they're just really pushing it, right? Tiny is making this Vengeance game completely miserable because they know that Necro can win this lane 1v1, so the support can just ruin the other support's life. And as a result of that, Venge is level 2.5, Tiny's level 3.5, and Necro is complete free farming with a kill and an assist in the lane, getting loads of denies as well against this PA.
Illusion TP top lane, but he's been spotted, so there's not going to be any surprise factor here. See if his time ends up being completely wasted, as Viking is just going to most likely A little bit passive now,
The thing is,
which leaves Necro alone in the bot lane. He's
exactly.
getting a lot of levels.
Even if this gank fails, as it did, what they're accomplishing now is they're opening up their Lifestealer's game, who had a really bad start. He's the one core in their team that's not happy. And it comes at the expense of Necro playing 1v2 bot, but their lane can't kill him, right? It's Avenge PA. He's just gonna farm. They're gonna pull, and Chad is gonna have a better time.
Top lane, Van Score looks like he's gonna go down to that battery assault. Toby, in the meantime, in a 2v1 battle, Celery is here. Only level 2 as the rage is going to be dispelled by the... Or, sorry, the Magic Missile is going to be dispelled by the rage. Doesn't look like Aramis... Oh, he's actually going to dive this. Wow, battery assault is up again inside the cogs, under the tier 1. They just need to aggro the tower, and they do just that.
Oh, Illusion, that
Another
was
kill onto the
greedy.
Tiny. Wow. What level toss is that? It's only level 2. 160 damage is not going to do the trick there. They tip galore to try to tilt the enemy.
The
I like
amount
it.
of Bok.
Bok. Chad has to be a little bit careful here in the bot lane. Vanscore priming a Stroke of Fate does connect. They will have a little bit of a hard time actually finishing him off, but zoning him is just as good for now.
Yeah, he's losing creeps. They're playing aggressive. Once again. They've definitely done a very admirable job in this early game, Unique. If Lifestealer's game was better than this, which I think it could have been, I think their top lane did not go as well as it could with the Grimstroke Lifestealer, but the other two lanes are looking awesome, really building a big advantage. They're now going to take the first tier 1 tower of the game, and I don't think they need to concede their top one in return. They have plenty of ways of defending that. Necro could TP up there and just sit. They could spam it out with either Grimstroke or just even a couple tiny spells will probably defend that tower for a while. And they get their life to a better position. When's the last time you've seen a level 4 hero destroy a tower? That's a bit weird.
It's been a while. I mean, he's a little bit behind on levels, I feel. If you compare it to the level almost 7 Shad PA right now. But there is a grouping in the top lane, so we'll see if there is a defense mounted. They had to start from full HP in terms of this tower. Have gotten to the half already.
Yeah. I feel like you TP up Necro here and defend. Oh, they're actually going to do something maybe even better. They're making a big rotation. Yeah, there's the Necro TP.
18 has Boots of Travel. He is very strong. Avalanche. There's a big RP onto 3 heroes, but no follow-up whatsoever. Here comes the Requiem. Doesn't look like it gets canceled by the battery assault. That's going to be an easy kill onto the Clockwork, but obviously they wanted more than that.
Yeah.
And they do show the Boots of Travel now. But they defend the tower, which is the most important thing.
Yeah, they do that for now.
They get it quite low, though.
Again, it feels like they could have maybe had this tower have more than half health had they just TP'd Necro earlier. I don't think he's at much risk of dying under the tower. He has Ghost Shroud, had a huge wand with Death Pulse. Any secondary TP would have probably saved him. So I really like what Unique were trying to do there. I think it could have been done earlier, and it would have been a lot better. But it was still the right idea to not give this tower out. Teams way too often, in my opinion, fall victim to this thing of almost this like forced school of thought that you just trade tier 1 towers. The best teams will often defend their towers as long as possible, even the safe lane one, because they all matter a lot. The patch where you just trade it every time is not this one, in my opinion. I don't think you have to anymore if you have the right lineup.
ED bottled by 19 as he's just going to continue to farm the jungle now. But yeah, a lot of... I mean, Necro is still top of the net worth as an offlane here. That is pretty crazy. BZZ is out of control. Double bracers. I'm not... What's coming now? Yeah, the full mech. Okay. Do you go for Greaves immediately, or do you have something in between?
I think Greaves is good.
Do you go for that 4-staff?
Greaves is solid. If you want something else, I like 4-staff. I still think Pipe is a possibility if they really want to play a timing game and try to end. It's the best item against Venno, obviously. Decent against Mag and Clockwork too. It's not like the Radiant don't have any magic damage. I think they actually have enough to warrant getting that item. And Necro is like the perfect carrier here. But we'll see.
The opposite offlane, Toby on the Venomancer, is level 9 and has a mech coming as well. So he's doing quite well. And so only 600 behind BZZ at the moment. It's really the mid lane that's the big discrepancy, which again, not a big surprise considering the start. Magnus about 800 behind the Shadow Fiend. Just finished his Echo Saber, so it's going to be basically the standard build. Echo Saber, Blink, BKB. and then after that can open it up a bit. It's interesting. We've seen a lot of halberds on these carries, this particularly, and not as much, at least in my experience, on these mid heroes like the Magnus. That I feel like even Kunkka would get it basically every game as a mid hero. Any reason for that?
Yeah, I'm not sure why you're not seeing it on Mag. I think it would be pretty decent in a lot of games, to be honest. I think a lot of carries just considered a really nice hybrid item, where you get some very good survivability, you get the anti-carry potential and the lifesteal amp, right? Even though the item hasn't been buffed. If anything, it got nerfed in 727. It lost 5% evasion. I think it's just something that the player base took a while to identify as being a good option. I don't think anything in particular in this patch makes Halberd way better than last patch. But yeah, it's
that triple smoke. Oh, really Shad is at half HP, but they don't have a good jump here. Illusion a little bit behind. They've technically tossed it into a Reaper, but it's only a level 1 Reaper. It's not going to be enough.
Yeah, and Shad was in position to blink strike, and they also had a Venge swap. So I don't think you land that combo regardless. Being very careful to protect Shad here.
Well, Pound Team coming out. Still trying to catch up, but still decent amount behind right now. And this would really add insult to injury if they're able to find this kill. He sees the clockwork, of course, has hookshot available. He's going to start out the battery assault. Oh, the cogs, not the greatest placement, but there's the RP to follow. Soulbind is here, though. Vanscore trying to save the day, and it looks like Palantimos is going to get swapped, but he's fine. They're doing the major damage with that Requiem. That is 3 kills in the blink of an eye for Unique. Amazing rotation and a huge toss. They can get Shad on top of this. This is unbelievable. An attempt to TP out, and he gets away. Very anticlimactic ending, but still amazing fight for Unique.
Yeah, and the reason this all starts is this clockwork not getting the cogs right. He gets the knockback on the lifesteal instead of getting him inside the cogs, and because of that, they get in position and reset, get the TP connections in. In hindsight, might want to just hookshot that to guarantee you hit the cogs. I understand where he was coming from. He probably thought that was a complete safe cog, and lifesteal just barely created enough distance with those phase boots.
Vanscore looks to be in a lot of trouble. Getting extremely low, but BZZ is here to save the day as well. Grimstroke does fall. Looks like the Magnus is going to get Reaper Sight, so it's a 1-for-1 as Celery looks to be next on the list. BZZ with that Ghost Shroud activated, they can't really do a whole lot against him. Toby attempting a very ambitious TP, but it's not going to happen. 3-for-1.
Damn. Unique are playing good Dota. I really like how fast they're playing, how aggressive they played their lanes, how quick they are rotating. The panel was saying they haven't been looking too hot lately, but it looks like, to me in this game, their communication looks really solid. I like the draft. I like, there are many good things to say about this. I just didn't think they would be doing this well already, but now that they are, this game is definitely theirs for the taking. They're going to get the mid tower, probably all 4 bounty runes minute 15 if they get moving. Which is probably a little bit of a mistake on Clockwork's part. Maybe could have got 1 here if he started moving earlier. But yeah, all 4. This is like a 5 to 6k gold lead. It's massive. Greaves on Necro completed. Tiny's closing in on Dagger. Shadowfiend has Yules. Lifesteal has Armlet, almost the Sanj. There's just so many big items coming out. And you look at the other side, PA is that a full Deso now?
Yeah.
Okay,
that's a big complete. Vanscore looks to be done inside the cogs. Actually just dies casually to the battery assault. Oh, yeah, they have the Deso. Obviously BKB is going to be next. It's going to be a little bit away right now. We've really been seeing, Boom is going to be trying to empower the PA to activate or amplify her farm as much as possible. But Boom, on the other hand, also needs to start get farming as well, because he is starting to fall a little bit behind in terms of just the discrepancy between 2 sides here. But they do have the save in the Venge. Of course, level 1 will be pretty close for that, so they're not super close to finishing anything that I feel like is going to really make a huge difference. Greaves is probably the closest thing. Toby's just about to complete that. But what does Greaves even take off this game? It doesn't take off the silence from Grimstroke. It takes off the slow. Is that it? Oh, open wounds?
Yeah.
And that might be it, actually. I guess it replaces the
not
debuff
very-
for Shadow Raid.
It's not very good for the debuff removal. It's mainly just the aura, which is
The aura gets pretty crazy, especially when
But
you
the
get
aura,
lower.
actually, Guardian Greaves aura is not that good against Necro, right? Because when it really kicks in is when people are low, but then Necro kind of kills them anyway. With Reaper, at least one key target gets killed off. Shadow Fiend also has really good magic burst later on into fights, so I actually kind of disagree with this Greaves choice. I don't think it's that good. I like the mech, but I think in this game you would probably buy either a Force Staff or a Pipe, just because you want to create distance against this Lifestealer, against this Necro, against the Tiny. You need to be able to kite and outlast an inevitable Shadow Fiend BKB as well. And now he's going Vessel, which he could have bought first item against Necro, but now Necro has even more value in his Greaves that he already has. I don't know, man.
That's interesting.
I'm not too too big a fan of this item build from Veno this game.
Typically, you'll at least see Earn early on just to get charges for the Vessel.
Yeah.
Because, again, if he has 0 charges, it's so much weaker than before because they got rid of that healing reduction aura completely. Charges are pretty damn value. But we'll see how it goes. Yeah, I agree. Force Staff, trying to kite this this Lifestealer is going to be pretty important. But speaking of Force Staffs, BZZ did finish his. And BKB is just a recipe away for the SF, who is now infested by the Lifestealer, who has a casual Sange, is going to Halberd actually with that armlet on top. They will find a PA, completely blow her up, and looks like Celery is next. A Reaper Scythe will
I don't
finish
think
her
Toby's
off.
going to live here either. Okay, nope, they're going to toss in
Onto
Lifestealer.
Toby. Open wounds
That's
is
the wrong
down,
hero.
though.
He doesn't have open wounds.
Yeah.
Still
take
really
the
big
2
kill on the
kills.
PA, and now they're going to take over this high ground and start playing this triangle. Really
what's
limiting the
the-
space.
What's the
Viking.
play from Viking? Because I'm sure even from their perspective, they know that they're behind. RP is probably the most valuable thing that you have in your arsenal to try to get back in these, like, to try to turn a fight, so to speak. But you just don't do that much damage yet. Is there a certain point that you're trying to wait for? Do you just try to get aggressive right away? Is there like, Unique doesn't really have a spell, like one of these long cooldowns where you're, okay, that's down, let's capitalize on it. Trying to figure out what the timing is for Vikings lineup. Try to get away with like jungle farming with empowered PA or something like that.
The PA BKB is probably your first major timing right now, where you feel like you have a good fighting chance. Outside of that, I think you mainly push waves. Oh, we'll get a freebie on Illusion here. Came into the wrong neighborhood. And the rest of the team's going around. So it's a little bit of a pick, but what Aramis was doing there, I think, is the recipe right now. You need to push out the lanes you have access to, and they had the bottom area, so he just pushed that out on Clockwork. I would love to see him start spamming Rockets top just to force rotation. So Unique have to come back and push that back up. That's actually exactly what he's going to do. Very nice. And yeah, Toby can sit mid on the Venom and just keep spamming out Plague Wards. So, you know, just keep them busy, basically. Keep Unique busy so they're not making moves. And hopefully your PA gets to get some much needed space, which seems to be the case right now. They're even going to get 2 bounty runes. So drawing on that's also great from their position.
Yeah, that's an improvement from 4 to 0 for sure. 19 did finish his BKB. He's going to be going for the Blink Dagger next. I assume that this means that they will continue to try to fight here, especially with the Blink Dagger that's been on Tiny for a decent amount of time. He's now infested. Going to smoke himself, bypass any potential Plague Wards. There's the Ink Swell, and ouch. Yeah, I wonder if you could get negative earn charges. That would be interesting. You know, how would that work? You just have to build it back up to a positive ratio to use it again.
Yeah. So
Roshan is opening up.
It would have negative charges, and in order to get it to 0, you had to use those negative charges on allies, and it would deal damage.
That would be pretty good. I like it. Make the game harder for everybody.
Or heal
It's not hard
enemies.
enough. I think this is going to be a free Roche.
Yep.
Minus armor coming into play, of course, makes that go that much faster. SF will claim it for himself. I really like this build. And by the way, Shadow Fiend, we didn't mention, has Faded Brooch. Probably the best item to get on him for
Yeah,
maybe
it's
the
really,
first
really
2
good.
tiers, I want to say.
Yeah, it's super good, for sure. I mean, I've always
480
thought
move speed.
basically from the day neutral items got introduced, I've always thought of Fated Brooch as one of the S tier items. Like, it's just there's so many heroes it's good on. You get a free 200 mana, 20 move speed. Like, who is that not good on? Like, name a hero it's a bad item on. I can't think
Trying.
of.
I really want to prove you wrong.
Everybody wants to have that, right? So you compare that to a lot of the other tier 1 items where it's like situations like, yeah, everybody also wants to have 5 all
I
stats
thought
with
of
Ocean
one.
Heart, but it's not the
I
same.
thought of one. Any hero that's ruptured does not want to have that item.
Okay.
Got it?
But they want to have it the rest of the time when they're farming jungle, pushing lanes, or taking fights. You know, it's like, it's just
Yes,
such a
that is true.
nice, well-rounded item. You just love to have it. Shadow Fiend obviously reaps the major benefits of really needing both attributes a lot. Both move speed and mana are amazing on this hero. But yeah, if you compare it to, let's say, Iron Talon, you know, there's a lot of heroes that don't really want that. The Broom Handle, very situational. Arcane Ring is kind of in the same category as Fated Brooch. I just feel like Brooch is most of the time a better version.
I think it's way better for sure. Could be a free tier 2 for Unique, who coming in as the technical underdogs, but not showing that at all thus far. As Shad is actually forced to use his BKB. Does he actually want to commit here with Celery here? Feels pretty confident, but there's
He's
a lot of
actually
reinforcements
dead.
now. They're going to kill off the Vengeful Spirit. He actually
good
blink strikes
cogs.
2 Aramis, trying to kite the Shadow Fiend, who still has the BKB and Aegis. There's the Soulbind and the double Reaper Scythe. I believe they only got 1 kill, though, with it. But it's on the important hero. PA dead for 70 seconds, and that is horrendous for Viking.
Shad really, I'm sure Shad really wants to TP out after he goes for the initial kill on Tiny and he's BKB'd, but he has BZZ in his reach the whole time, so BZZ can just 4-staff Reaper him on the TP. So he kind of has to try for this escape play where he blinks on an ally and tries to sneak out of there. But Shadow Fiend super fast, immediately on the money, gets the ult and nice kills.
Very well executed. Palantimos, by the way, did finish the Halberd.
Yeah, going MKB now, of course.
Very value item, of course. Yeah, it's like the perfect ramp up. Armlet, Halberd, MKB. You can right click the PA. You can prevent her from right clicking. You're super tanky. I believe they got rid of the... Oh, that's right. They have the self HP regen and lifesteal amp, which synergizes with his feast. And his tier 2 tower looks to be another freebie for Team Unique. But they nerf with something with Sange and Halberd. It was just...
I think Sange got maybe a little bit less. What was it? Spell no longer provides spell lifesteal amp.
Right, okay. Spell lifesteal amp. Shadow Fiend and Necro definitely on the top, but I mean, PA and Magnus not super far behind. We saw the BKB, of course, on Shad, and Magnus has one of his own. Still 10 seconds for him. Is that enough to fight? If you get a good RP, yes. As long as PA is empowered.
The thing that's
a big
difficult here is that the heroes of Unique are getting very tanky, right? You have the Lifestealer with Halberd. You have the Necrophos with Greaves now. Plate Mail is a very high value item this game. Shadow Fiend has Aegis, BKB Yule, and Plate Mail as well. So I still think it's tough for Viking. You kind of need to outplay at this point with forcing rotation first and then beating them in a numbers game, probably. Just a straight-on 5v5 is not favoring you in almost any version unless they really mess up and get RP'd like 3 or 4 heroes. So it's tough, and I mean, I just really want to say, I think Unique are playing a pretty damn good game here. The panel didn't exactly inspire confidence in me saying they haven't been playing well lately, but I think this is really solid Dota. They're playing against a good team. They're doing a lot of the right things. Making moves, playing aggressive, responding well to threats. They've taken every tower minute 25 on the outside of the base. So the challenge now is, and this is where a lot of teams can fall flat against the true greats, is to turn this advantage into high impact objectives in terms of barracks or getting a free Roshan with Aegis Cheese. Because you have this lead, but are you going to use it to push out the lanes correctly and then find a team fight on your terms? Or are you going to slip up and lose focus a little bit? Even with this lead, this game, like you said, it's easily winnable for Viking. It's not like one of those games.
Easily?
Like, okay. Yeah, it definitely is. If they take one big good fight, the game is almost equalized. That's all they need.
Okay.
Like the game prediction right now, again, I don't always trust and I wouldn't always refer to it, but it's giving Unique a 75-25 advantage right now, the win probability. It's not more than that. And that's a 10k lead. It's just mag PA, you know? Something can always happen. You make one misstep, you get out of position, PA gets 4 kills, all of a sudden she has an Abyssal Blade, and now, entering a fight, she will one-shot your Grimstroke, and suddenly fights can get really interesting, right? So you need to not make that slip up as Unique. And
Definitely possible. I wouldn't say it's easy, though. Easy.
No. I'm not saying it's easy. I'm saying it's easily possible.
Oh,
those are two different things.
Okay, sure. I will agree with that.
If it's easy for them, then I would favor them, right?
Easier
Playing from
said
ahead
than
is what's
done.
easy.
God, Tiny is so fast with Lifestealer inside him. 550 move speed, capped out right now. Requiem being faked to all the spectators that are watching him right now. Did finish his Shivas. Shadow Fiend is just ginormous. Like, what do you go for now? What are the last 2 items? Oh, we're going to have to hold that thought. His hook shot into the Tiny. He's going to toss the Clockwork out with Lifestealer actually stuck inside. RP onto 3 heroes. This could be a really good fight for Viking. Talentimo's trying to right-click RMS. Looks like the Reaper Scythe will finish him off. As it's a 1-for-1 with the buyback. Soulbind onto 2 with a double silence to follow. It'll only be the Venge to die, though. But PA dropped in that fight, and that is the big one. No buyback for her.
Yeah, that was not really the coordination I was looking for from Viking. They got a really good 3-man RP, but then PA was off to the side fighting Shadow Fiend.
I was expecting to see PA there. I'm like,
I was like, why?
Which model is it?
Maybe she had cooldown on Blink Strike from just having attacked the Shadow Fiend and couldn't connect, but like the whole point of this strategy and this combo is you amplify the farming, and then when a big RP hits, that's when the cleave train comes in, but PA never got on it. She stayed on the Shadow Fiend. You know what? She's not going to kill the Shadow Fiend. He's got 40 armor, or 30 rather. 30 armor, BKB. He has Yules to delay the kill, and as soon as he outlasts the PA's BKB, he can really put up a fight. So... yeah, essentially just wasting his fight there, Shad. This is not Viking's best showing, you gotta say, this game.
Yeah, they're looking pretty sloppy right now.
Yeah, it's not their A game, that's for sure.
Maybe it's less sloppy and more just Unique playing really good Dota right now. Boom gets tossed in. Is forced to BKB TP. They don't have Scythe to actually cancel it, so they'll just be happy with the BKB charge expended. That was the 9-second BKB. Like Ghost Scepter is going to be the choice for Shadow Fiend, by the way. Does he actually finish the
I think he'll go E-Blade.
shotgun, or
Yeah, I think so.
with that, E-Blade's going to amplify the ridiculous amount of magic damage coming out from Shadow Friend. Actually, yeah, it does queue it up now.
It helps all of his teammates except Lifestealer quite a lot too. Even Lifestealer with MKB, but like, come on. No, actually it doesn't, because he can't hit. But all the other magic damage they have is quite significant. Even something like Reaper Scythe
Yule is going to
really loves
cancel the channel there as the TPs are coming in. Now Shadow Fiend, Friend, whatever his name is, at half HP already, pops the BKB. Soldier's going to be right-click down with ease. Aramis is here, but very little mana to speak of. So it looks like Viking might just be on the run. Soulbind was already expended onto 2. Shadow's going to continue the pressure. He blinks on an ally, actually. Infest, not really used to full effect, but going to gain his HP back, and Aramis takes another spill. So Viking completely bailing out of this fight now. That was a weird one. Was that for the 30-minute outpost? It looks like Toby's going to die now, too. That was all over the 30-minute outpost, which has been nerfed so much lately. How much does it even matter at this stage?
I think the bounty runes are more important, probably. The 30-minute bounties are probably more important than the XP. But they didn't get those either, right? Did they? Oh, they did. Viking actually got 2 bounties out of that. They got both of them with Mag. But he's not trying to get the other ones. He feels uncertain about whether the area is safe or already taken.
Now with a 12k net worth lead, Unique have all 3 of their cores are top of the net worth now. So the lead is just expanding. It's not... Still would not say this is completely out of reach.
It's not insurmountable.
The combo you were talking about is still definitely possible, but it's getting harder by the minute. Orb of Destruction.
And you're losing more and more
Lifestealer.
confidence in it when you see how Viking play the fights as well, right? Like it doesn't. It's just not the crisp fights that we're used to seeing from them today in this game, in my opinion. It's been a little bit disappointing, but you know, they can at any point in time they could flick a switch and hit that money fight, and then they're back.
Turn it on. Money fight. A smoke up now. Shadow Fiend is huge. Hookshot is going to connect. Going to go on top of the Shadow Fiend. RP onto 3. The wombo combo is real. The Shadow Fiend dies, buys back into the game immediately. PA with that BKB activated is going to continue the pressure on the Vanscore, who actually force-steps into Roche. And with that buyback, Viking probably just wants to get out of dodge, even though it is a Shadow Fiend who lost half of his souls. Here's a swap going on as well as Aramis on the run. 19 is going to continue to try to chase, but looks like the buyback is to no avail. So that is a decent turnaround for Viking. Can't ask for a better fight than that, honestly. But now with RP down, do you continue to fight? They're surprised by this Infest Bomb, dealing massive damage as Nice Cogs blocking his teammate along with the enemies out. They're going to lose the Venge. Tiny's going to be the trade. Shad needs to get out if this is going to be a one fight for Viking. Yules is there. 19 gets hookshot again. Beautiful play from the Clockwork as now PA continuing to run. Phantom Strike is up in 2 seconds, but it looks like he'll find his way to the grave. It's going to be the Shadow Fiend death again, the dieback, if you will. Aramis getting quite low to the right, clicks from Palantimos. Buyback onto the PA and the Vengeful Spirit, along with Tiny on the other side. BKB popped by PA. Gonna try to go on top of this lifesteal. The bash is there. This is no crit. Soulbind again. Finally, the crit. Trying to force that out with his Soulbind. Very, very slow. BZZ has another Death Pulse. He's actually going to dive into the base right now. He really wants this kill. Death Pulse trying to heal up with the urn, but he does go down. That is the dieback onto the PA now. And now the enemy inside their base. Viking, can they hold on? Celery extremely low. Gale will completely whiff. Splits the uprights. Not sure if they can get more than this. BZZ is going to take a solo Poison Nova.
He's actually dead. If they do
Vengeful
it well
Spirit.
here.
No, Ghost Shroud's going to heal him completely, and they're just going to destroy the Vengeful Spirit. Now
oh, they didn't Vessel him.
Spirit Vessel applied to the Tiny. No, the BZZ was not Spirit Vessel, but looks like they'll finally find the kill.
Yeah.
That's another Ghost Shroud up in just a moment. No Death Pulse, though. Now it's up. He's going to heal up to half HP, and he's looking really good in this now 2v1 situation for Unique. Aramis is still dealing quite a bit of damage. Has the Glimmer Cape to keep alive for another second here, but there's the Avatos again. Buyback onto the Venomancer. Now BZZ has to be careful. Spirit Vessel has 0 charges, though. This will give them 2 if they're able to get this Tiny kill, which then they can turn onto the Necro if they want. And there we go. 2 charges just like that. BZZ pops the Ghost Shroud, has his Guardian Greaves up in just a moment. A decent amount of HP. Aramis is still staying alive through all of this, some way, somehow, and hook shots down to his teammate. Actually, really good play from Aramis on this Clockwork.
It feels like an eternity ago, but that full heal BZZ got was strictly because there was no Vessel put on him, but it's a hard call to make for Toe because he doesn't know what the cooldown of Greaves is, right? He doesn't want to put the Vessel on before the Greaves are used, so in his mind, they're ready, so he's holding it.
Right.
And then that full heal comes out without the Vessel, and he uses it after, and then the Greaves get ready later as well. So BZZ really playing a great fight there around just this tanky Necro, right? He has 35 armor, 4 staff, Greaves, plenty of stuff to work with. And Viking really thought they had him. I thought they had him too. It really looked like a kill, but from their perspective, the lack of knowledge about the lack of knowledge about the Vessel. Wow, that was a tongue twister for some reason.
Well, imagine if this was in the previous patch where the passive actually worked. They would have killed him for sure. Like, it was just a minor amount of damage needed. Makes a huge difference.
Probably the old Urn, or well,
Roshan at half HP. Necro going inside RP on just the Necro. If they can burst him down, this would be huge. But Lifestealer jumps in to give him that burst of HP, and BZZ will live. Vengeful Spirit falls. Veno looks to be next. Oh, a lot of damage, though. Necro gets blown up by the Magnus. Buys back immediately into the game. A hook shot from Aramis. Keeps Shadow Fiend in place, but the Force Staff keeps him safe in turn. Shad continuing to chase, but there's the Ghost Scepter keeping Shadow Fiend alive. Oh, a nice Yules, and here comes the support from Illusion. Avalanche is there, and Clockwork is dead, but there's the turn again. PA really wants this kill, but he's completely surrounded, and yet another one-team fight from Team Unique. And that means another Roshan to their favor.
Oh man. And the whole way this starts, right? Again, it's just Viking not on the same page. Even though there were glimmers of hope in that fight, the Magnus solo RPs the Necro in the pit. And at the same time, PA blinks away. So they just wasted RP, going on Necro half committed. And then when they finally kill him later, he has buyback too. So they've had to use 2 attempts on killing this guy. He comes back to the fight anyway, and you're just out of steam. PS BKB expires, Magnus used BKB RP, and it's so easy for Unique after that to just clean up, and now they're going to get minimum 2 lanes of racks here.
There is a repair kit.
It'll help, but it's not enough. Like, they have half a minute on PA. You have no reason to be scared here. You have Aegis on Shadow Fiend, you have a Cheese on Lifestealer, no RP. They shouldn't even be scared of this buyback, to be honest. Just keep going. Yeah, they don't care.
Buyback
Top
means
tower's
almost
also being
nothing.
pushed. Illusion?
Maybe minimum 2 racks. Here comes the Magnus. He's gonna be able to skewer the Shadow Fiend, but Shadow Fiend just pops BKB, goes for the Requiem. Ridiculous amount of damage to that Vengeful Sphere. It gets blown up. The Reaper Scythe on the Magnus, and that should be GG for game 1. And Team Unique, this game was in their grasp the entire... Like, they had control of the game from minute 1 till now. Very clean play from them. Pretty impressed.
Yeah, me too. I was... Like I said, I consider Viking